Is he the end of man or the beginning?
Darksiders 1, your war, you get wrongly accused of the apocalypse, and then heaven and hell come after you on Earth. And that's pretty much the whole story of Darksiders 1. For Darksiders 2, same timeline as Darksiders 1, except your death. And you hear that war started the apocalypse. You say, that's impossible. I know my brother would never do that. So you set about exploring the underworld to clear your brother's name, work behind the scenes, characters that aren't involved in politics, and, you know, Death just wants to clear war's name any way he can, whatever it takes. You don't have to have played the first game to understand Darksiders 2. We're not leaving anybody out in the cold, but there's definitely, like, if these are the two timelines, there's definitely points where they cross over. So if you played the first game, there'll be a character or a moment where you can be like, oh, now what was happening in the first game makes sense, or I understand what's going on. There's a lot of callback for our fans from the first game. War was more like the warrior type, slow, lumbering, you know, force, unstoppable force. Death's more agile. He never blocks, he'll always dodge. He's also more agile and can climb higher. So in level design, you'll see, since Death can like skitter up and run across ledges and stuff, we've designed levels not only horizontally but vertically. So there'll be a lot more intricate traversal sequences than in the first Darksiders. There's a loot system now where enemies and chests you find randomly created weapons and armor items. There's also leveling and now a skill tree. And the skill trees, there's a warrior and spellcaster track called Harbinger and Necromancer. By design, you can't pick all the skills in the game by the end of the game, so you kind of have to pick a direction to go in. And then there's also still move training. So you decide, do I want to train in sight? Do I want to train in heavy weapons? Do I want to train in light weapons? And our goal is, whereas in the first game, you'd end up with the same character no matter what, within an hour, two different people, or everybody playing the game is going to end up with a completely different death that's more focused and tailored to their desired play experience. Since the first game took place and it was on Earth and then the apocalypse, we had to create an Earth, and everybody knows what Earth looks like, and so it kind of grounds you in reality. For this game, it's all in the underworld, and so our art team really got to cut loose and create these really like grand vistas and crazy creatures. You know, it was just like, hey, is it cool if we have a guy living on a ship that gets pulled through the sky on two giant serpents? Yeah, that's fine, because you don't need to have this bound on Earth logic. So for the scale of the game, you know, we didn't have to spend any time working on engine and these other details that come with making your first game. We got to just focus on crafting a full game in itself. So in addition to all the features, we got to create a lot more landmass. So consider there's 4 worlds in Darksiders. The first world in the game alone is about the same size as the entire first game, just to give you an idea of how much we've been able to craft in Darksiders 2. In each world, there'll be a hub town where you can go, you can train, buy, and sell equipment, but also there's NPCs. We have conversation trees now that you can talk to NPCs and characters in town, and it's very much worth your while. You obviously get details about the world and extra details of the story, but there's also side missions to be gained. And our side missions on Darksiders 2 aren't just your, you know, fetch quest, go get this and bring it back to me. It's like specific dungeons we designed for these side quests that are hours of content. I wouldn't call it necessarily an open world game, but we've definitely opened it up, and there's a lot of exploration to do where you don't have to do it, but there's a lot to discover if you're, you know, the type that's like, I wonder what's over there, and you head down there and you discover something cool that you didn't know you'd find.
I have an offer in mind.
Just like the first game, every dungeon has an item or a theme to it that it's centered around, except obviously we have a lot larger game where we've been able to create a lot new items and different catches to dungeon. Each one also has a very unique look. We have these 4 worlds, each with their own distinct visual style, and again, because of the traversal element where we can make dungeons taller, it's very much in that sense like the adventure game, kind of like it's action-adventure, and people still use that term, but we're very much bringing the adventure back in the action-adventure game, where you'll walk into a place and, you know, you'll see someone on a ledge and you're like, man, how do I get that item, or how do I get up there? And then we give you that right away, and then it becomes a matter of you figuring out on your own how to traverse and how to get up to that level. So you know, we feel like a lot of games now kind of feed players, like here. We don't want to I'm not calling it frustration, but we're more than willing to trust gamers that they'll figure it out. We'll give you a few seconds to figure it out, because we feel if you're doing it and you feel successful from accomplishing that and figuring it out on your own, you're constantly getting this feeling like you're playing our game. Our game isn't just playing you the whole time, and that's our goal with Darksiders 2. So Darksiders 2 comes out on June 26th for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC.